Hello everyone, my name is Nathan and today it's time to dive into a new game called Manor Lords. A settlement establishing game the likes of Banished, but with combat and very interesting functionality. We're gonna go ahead and check this out together, and I will be a wise little boy leader from the looks of it. There we go, messed around a little bit with my coat of arms, and that's how we're gonna continue. There are 3 difficulty levels and 3 scenarios to begin with, and we're gonna go with the default experience. The first option here, Rise to Prosperity, allows you to build the settlement, just focus on that without the combat. Here in the Restore the Peace setting, we do have some combat, and we will have to conquer every region to win. And the last option would be the most challenging, where you are being pressed and have to hurry up with building up your settlement. So once again, we're just going to do the default settings and begin the game. We have to make sure to check the resources as well as the soil fertility, so that is a thing. So here are the settlements and we can use the spacebar to pause, so I'm guessing that is going to become very important. Manor Lords will work on a family basis, so you have families that can take on various jobs. All the individual people are actually important. It's not like City Skylines where you have a dedicated number of how many people you have. Here, every individual person needs to live their life, fulfill their duties, have children, provide more men for battle, etc. Each family requires food and fuel in their house. On the top we can see our living space, how many people we have assigned to certain jobs and how many construction workers we have. Our total population at the moment is 10 with 5 level 1 families, 8 men and 2 women. We can also see information about population growth, the order, as well as our wealth, livestock and number of days before our supplies dwindle. There are also seasons in this game, spring meaning more rain, summer with the crop growth as well as possible droughts, autumn would be the harvesting and plowing season, and the winter would be used for seasonal resources such as berries and stuff. Before we start to construct anything, let's see what we already have. A supply of logs, a little bit of food, firewood, stone and tools. There's a hitching post acting as a stable space. And finally a makeshift shelter with a little bit of storage as well. In the first year, we'll have to make sure that we provide enough food and firewood for our first winter to survive. In the building menu at the bottom, we have a dedicated button for roads as well as construction. On roads, you can actually carry 10 goods at a time with carts, but you'll have to make sure to never bring the carts off-road. The construction menu on the other side is divided into various categories: gathering, mining, logistics, residential, farming, industry, trade, administration, and cosmetic. Under the residential category, the first thing I want to build is a well, and we can already see wells can only be built where there is underground water. The roads actually snap to the various buildings, and you can see the road snapping points represented as yellow circles. Just zooming out a little bit, we can see where there are various resources such as these berries, there are wild animals, some iron and stone. There's a little bit of clay here at the top, so I'm guessing approximately here would be a good starting point. I'm gonna get started with my well right at this spot. Families that aren't assigned to any job will automatically go ahead and build this. And then we have this ox, I believe, that will be utilized in order to bring over the logs. Yeah, Linhart is taking care of that situation. Oh, this is amazing. The other people really don't know what to do right now, but this is just too fascinating not to watch. And I'm guessing Heinz over here is also gonna help with the building process. Another thing we might want to take care of immediately is a hunting camp and a forager's hut, just to make sure we always have enough food. The hunting hut I want to have somewhat close to my wild animals, so I'm gonna be placing that approximately here. And then finally the forager's hut I'm gonna place near the berries, so maybe approximately here. This should then allow me to connect all of these points here with roads. So if we just go ahead and do something like that, I can then go ahead and continue my road over here to the well. Oh, and it looks like the roads don't have to be built, they are instant. Oh, this dirt path actually really looks good. I wonder if there are gonna be different types of paths eventually. But we can now see our villagers getting to work, and I wonder just how detailed this is going to be. We only really require 1 log, and now the ox is going to be taken over in order to bring another log over to the next building sites. So maybe just to be on the safe side, I'm also going to drag a road over here to my storage areas, and this hopefully is going to make everything a little bit quicker. And I really like that, how it just Snaps and goes all the way around the buildings as needed. That's what I'm talking about. We also have to consider right now all of our people are homeless. We will have to build a bunch of plots, but you know, making sure we have enough food is probably more important. And it looks like everyone is helping. The ox is not actually taking the road, so I'm assuming the roads are only important if you actually have carts. The construction of the well seems to be finished. Everyone is done here, which means we can get to the next stage, the forager's hut. I'm gonna be assigning a forager family as well as a hunting family. The rest is probably gonna be dedicated to building more housing. Clicking on a construction site, there's even a priority system. I also like that, and with every dialog box you can pin it to the screen if you want to. Look at this, the construction is actually really detailed, like every board just gets added. Whoa, except for the roof. Okay, the roof just goes a little bit quick, but there we go. I like how they did this. Now that we built the forager's hut, we can select it and assign a family. Looks like the family is gonna be random, and we're just gonna do one family for the time being. There's also a storage of 50 berries here before we have to store it somewhere else. Maybe in the marketplace would be good. But here we are now building the hunting camp instead. Construction also finished. We're gonna assign one family here. Now we still have 3 families left over, so maybe one assigning to firewood. Next I want to take care of my wood and firewood supplies, so we're gonna build a logging camp. Now let me see, where would this be best situated? Maybe here, where we have a dedicated forest that we can just take apart. And it looks like we already have a pre-built road that just goes through here, so I'm assuming eventually there's going to be some trade happening on this road as well. So what I'm going to do for now is drag a road over here, just have that built, get a logging camp situated over here, as well as a woodcutter's lodge. So I'm going to be placing that here. Now we might want to think about logistics. For instance, I'm going to need a storehouse in order to store the wood. This will cost me another 2 wood, which I do believe we have. We have 3 timbers still left over. So maybe first things first, we're gonna be connecting this with a road. And then I want my storehouse to be right here. Now I wonder, can I eventually move buildings? I might just have to destroy them. So we have to think about the layout. Maybe we want to switch up how some of the roads work. If we hold the Alt button and click a road, we are capable of removing it and maybe making it a little bit more reasonable. Like I could go ahead, remove this road, and then we might want to go ahead, build one road going all the way up here. Ooh, it actually does the connection by itself. And then we're just gonna be connecting this, and this way I also have a little bit more building space. Maybe we can then set up a marketplace here. We'll see. Let's keep moving for now, building all those things. I also want to build a granary, but in order to do that I first need to set up the logging camp and finally collect some logs. In the meantime, Linhart took over the hunting job and he is currently hunting.
Time to find a good tree in soft ground.
And he's mumbling something here. Oh yeah, look at that, it's amazing. He spotted a deer or something. Picking up an arrow and wow. Oh yeah, here they are, the deer, but they're gonna run away. Oh, there it is. He actually caught it. Now, what is he gonna do? Just dragging it to the hunting camp.
This is heavier than it looks.
It's heavier than it looks, okay. Whoa, you can actually fast forward 12 times the speed. So I'm guessing this would be taking an enormous amount of time just at 1 times the speed. For now, we're gonna keep it at 4 times. That seems reasonable. Yeah, look at that. They are going nuts now. Building my logging camp. We just received our first letter and it kind of makes me suspicious. Someone telling me not to be judgmental about the rumors and slanders about them. We now have the option to write back or end the conversation. Let's go ahead and write back. So we just met Hildebald von Bereneute. I'm probably not gonna survive for butchering their names. We can get into rhetorics, negotiation, or declaration. So either declare war, we can request something, or we can just tell them you don't have the right to do something. So we're gonna go ahead and drag and drop this over here. That is actually a really interesting mechanic. And I'm guessing the more influence we have, the more options we also have, but let's just go ahead and send this for now. So it looks like we need to gain a certain amount of influence and fame, renown, in order to claim territories. Mine is this one here at the bottom, and it looks like the person we just met already has double the amount of land available. Oh, you know what? This is ingenious. You get to the map menu just by zooming out far enough. I mean, check this out. It just switches to the map. That is amazing. Also, it looks like my pathways are fully integrated into the map. Maybe I'm turning this around so we're looking in the right direction. The logging camp is completed. I'm gonna assign a family here as well, and that is hopefully gonna replenish our log supplies in reasonable time. Something else I can do is get into a camera perspective, then Control Shift and, for instance, the number 1 button. When I then click Shift and number 1, it will go back and snap into that position, so I can just check things out and then conveniently go back into the overview, looking into the right direction. So now I'm searching for the person felling the trees. I can hear them somewhere. Oh yeah, that's them, Nickel. And the tree is fallen. Actually, the whole family is participating here, Heinz as well. They then still have to work on the tree to make individual logs, so this is actually quite a process. I wonder if they also replenish the forest. Our storehouse is already finished, that is nice. Oh no, we actually need someone assigned to the storehouse, so they bring the stuff over here, but I rather have a family take over the woodcutter's lodge job and then still have a family left over to do the building. If we get under construction into the Burgage plot, we can go ahead and start to designate plots for housing. So I think what I first want to do is build a little road that goes out here, and then I'm going to start to dedicate a couple of plots. We can drag these out as far as we like, but I guess for now I'm going to do something like this, go over here and do that. That would give us 2 plots at the cost of 4 logs. So it's kind of dependent on the road patterns, because if I rotate this around, then I get way more plots that are aligned with the road. I can then even reduce the amount of plots in order to get a upgradable housing, as you can see here with the plus icon. So this plot here would be upgradable. There we go. Woodcutter's Lodge is finished. I'm gonna dedicate 1 family to this as well. Now we only have 1 family left over that is unassigned, and this is the point where we definitely want to expand. Also considering we now have enough food to last for 6 months. So with the few logs I have, I'm gonna try to set up a little living space here for at least a couple of families, and we're just gonna try to expand from there. Also keeping in mind that we need a marketplace to distribute certain goods to the houses. Checking out the marketplace building menu, it doesn't look like we are requiring materials to set this up, and all the designated families that are assigned to a job will then set up their stalls for the residents to pick their goods. I want the marketplace to be nearby the housing. I am thinking about this square here, also nearby the well. Well, this might not actually be that important. This would give us 10 market stall locations marked by the crosses there. So I'm thinking if I make this doubly as large, we should be getting way more. Yeah, like 20. We can do 20, and this is still gonna be okay in terms of plot costs. A well-supplied marketplace is the lifeblood of your town. Yeah, that was what this is so great. This is so organic. Look at that. And we can just make these in whatever shape we like, and the game is gonna build this organically. So kind of like City Skylines attempts to do this organically as well. There's just one thing I wonder, will there ever be a way to expand on that? Or do I, for instance, have to build all the roads first and then set up the marketplace later? Because having to rebuild certain plots might really be a harsh hit to the economy. And here's the first person setting up their stall, a food market stand. Kung Good here is also setting up something, a firewood stall. And of course, people from this region will be able to just take advantage of that. Let's maybe also make another pathway over here, and then we should be able to just connect this as well, right?
Bring this here, move that there, on and on.
The comments are amazing. Anyway, let's finish the pathway here and then check out what we need. Exposed goods. So it's all about these goods that are currently stored in here, but we do not have any people moving them to the storehouse, for instance, or maybe the granary is something we need next. Yeah, let's maybe build that as well. Like, we want to make sure we have a granary available near the marketplace and kind of centralized. There's actually something I totally didn't see. I can upgrade this homeless people's tents into a workers camp that is going to provide living space for 5 families. Considering this only costs 1 log, I don't see why not to do that, and we're gonna set this to a very high priority so it gets built first. We also get our first rain, and I like how this is reflected here in the textures. There are some small puddles, very nice attention to detail here graphically. Exposed stocks are getting soaked. Yeah, some of my supplies are now getting soaked because, well, maybe I can actually move them. Like the bread would be great if that didn't actually get soaked. I think what I'm gonna do is take away one job here for the berries, so we have another family being able to help with the building process. We need this done as soon as possible now. Nice, look at that. The workers' camp even comes with a generic storage and a pantry, so we technically don't need the granary and the storehouse as quickly as I built them. I would probably focus more on the building plots so we get more families. Once a burgage plot is completed, we can click on it in order to see what's inside. Currently, since this is new, there's nothing inside. At the moment, all they have here is water access. They don't even have access to any of the food stores because they aren't supplied just yet. It has now switched to April, so spring is gonna last for another 2 months. I think we're not too much in a hurry. I don't want to risk spoiling my food, so I'm gonna assign one family to the granary and hopefully this is gonna make them actually move the food a little bit. Yeah, look at this. There's already a person here, Nickel, coming with the cart. This is amazing. And they're gonna pick up the baskets here. I think they can carry, yeah, 5 or so goods, and is now actually bringing this to the food market. Interesting. Yeah, it's actually just 3 baskets that they're now bringing to the granary, but they should be safe and no more getting soaked. In the meantime, my second building is being built right here. We already have a family moved in. No, actually not. As soon as I get another family, I'm gonna assign a person to the storehouse so they also deliver other goods such as firewood, I think is what is required. So no family is moving in here because we have no access to the market supply. Yeah, currently the problem seems to be the fuel, so we need to bring along some firewood from over here. I'm actually unassigning the person from the hunting camp. That might be a good idea, assigning them to the storehouse so the goods get sorted a little bit. Oh, and there it is. Suddenly we have access to the fuel stall and the food stall already. There's just the clothing stall. Well, we do not really have a clothing stall, but I'm guessing that would be something they really want. So if we check out industry, that's probably right there. We also need a smithy to craft the tools, though right now we do have a lot of tools. There's a clay furnace, the malt house. We have a tannery, a weaver's workshop, and a dyer's workshop. So I'm guessing the weaver's workshop is going to be important. But for that, we seem to be needing sheep. Maybe we can do something with leather. What about farming? What can we do here? There's a field, farmhouse, pasture, a sheep farm, a windmill, and a communal oven. Wow, okay, so there are many options. Looking forward to that. But yeah, I'm guessing right now what we truly need is more families. Yeah, I really adore the building process. This is one of the best ones I've seen in these types of games, you know, apart from the roof section. By the way, we can really estimate just how much we need. For instance, right now, we might not even need to get more logs. We have 15 logs right now. Right now, nobody seems to be wanting to move into the houses, so I'm assuming we at least need one way to produce clothing, though I cannot imagine we need to place down a church for this to work, because that is also a requirement, but the church will require its own infrastructure with building planks. I mean, right now my approval rating is going up, so maybe it just takes a while for them to move in. So I'm thinking the most reasonable thing would be a tannery, since we already have set up a hunter's lodge, and honestly I might just want this nearby the hunter's lodge either way. Let's do it here so I can still drag a road from here to there and there. Yeah, check this out. We already have 11 hides, so there is something we can do with the hides. Whoa, settlement level increased. Nice, new development point. A shipment of weapons has just arrived, nice. And now I can create my first militia banner. What a joy, I just had my first additional family actually moving in. So there was someone strolling along, just taking the opportunity. This means the housing market is working even though we haven't quite everything supplied. Overall, the game feels a little bit unsaturated and dark, but it has its moments, just like this one here, where I can really appreciate the atmosphere. For now, I think I got enough logs, so I'm gonna reassign someone to gather the berries, though right now we don't have berries because of the season, I think, but hunting is something we can always do, though we need to make sure that we don't actually extinguish the animals, so maybe that isn't even that good of an idea. Yeah, right now we can see the berries are growing, still it's seasonal. In this case we might want to check out other things such as farming. Actually, it doesn't really make sense to build the fields right now because we already missed the sowing season. In this case, it might be more reasonable to set up a pasture. We can do that along the road here and then just set up something like that and that. That should still be good, though maybe this is way too large of an area. Let's keep it smaller for now. Build that pasture, and then somewhere nearby we also want the sheep farm. So maybe I can set up a pathway here just encompassing this and then have my sheep farm right there. Okay, Though if I remember correctly, we might need a trading station to even get the first livestock. Yeah, there's a livestock trading post and there's also a normal trading post. So I think what I'm gonna do is set up a trading post along the road here. This is most likely to be the road where the traders come along. And while we're at it, we can also set up a normal trading post as well. So we already have access to all of these buildings. In this case, what I might want to do is set up another road, so potentially we can also set up a field here. But now I think I'm gonna wait for a little while because I definitely want this tannery to be constructed, very high priority, and I want somebody to already work on this, so we potentially get a bunch of clothing to survive the winter in the end. There it is, a tannery completed. We're gonna assign a family right away, and hopefully we can now do something with all the hides that we have going on. The wild animals are actually replenishing, so I think if we just keep this number in check, we should be good. Yeah, there it is. Christina is already working on it, and from the looks of it, we just produced one letter. That means these people should be setting up a stall. Yeah, look at that. Everything is working smoothly. We now have a clothing stall, and that means as soon as we filled up the clothing stall, we will be able to provide clothing to the buildings, and winter is going to be much easier, you know, less deadly. Wow, it is definitely storming. Hopefully we don't have any lightning accidents. At the moment we have 50 regional wealth, and it looks like to import some sheep we need to spend 30 of it, and also we need to hire a family to take care of that business, so I'm not yet sure. I'm just gonna keep on building the other stuff. My approving rating is now going up. As soon as we get enough approval rating, we should also have more families moving in, though we always need to keep in mind the number of months we are capable of surviving. I'm also not sure about food spoilage. How secure is the food inside the granary? Is it indestructible or can it still spoil? We'll see. Access to herbs might speed up the recovery of someone who is sick, while a varied diet increases their resistance. I think slowly but surely I'm also ready for the saw pit. This is gonna allow us to finally construct a bunch of planks for even more complex buildings. I think I'm just gonna keep the wood stuff all together so I know where it is. Nice, now we already have 7 families. This is really good. I'm gonna keep the sheep stuff empty for now until we get even more families. I think having the tannery and maybe the hunting cabin active right now would be more beneficial. This market stall is already filled up, which means these houses now have access to everything here. That is going to increase my approval rating and make them move in even quicker. Now my number of months that I can survive went down to 8, which is really bad, but considering the berry season hasn't started yet, we might get away with it at least for the first year. If we check out the seasons here, we can see harvesting, plowing and sowing happens in autumn, and I think it should be done until September. So maybe we already start just planning the fields but not doing anything with them. For instance, I would like to see a farmhouse. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit in the designated spot that I set, so I think what I'm gonna do is just remove this road again. Looking around here, we can see indicated by the 3 plus signs that there is more fertile ground and less fertile ground. There is no non-fertile ground, at least not in my plot. So I think what I want to do is go ahead and connect this together. I can then have my farmhouse adjacent to this road, for instance, and then set up my field. Later on, we can plow the fields with an ox. Right now we have to do it by hand, which takes a long time. And it just says the fields need to be very large. So I think we're gonna be starting over here. I only have 4 plot points, so every time I click here, it's gonna be using up 1 point, but I should be able to do, for instance, something like this. Yeah, I might even connect this to over here. This is a field size of 0.6 Morgan, and the game recommended me to do 1 Morgan. That means if I bring this all the way up to here, I have 0.9, which seems to be reasonable. And we're gonna go ahead, hit up this field. Nice. When crops are growing, they absorb certain nutrients from the soil, lowering its fertility. This is a nice mechanic, diminishing the yields over time. To combat this, we want to change our crop types, or even better, leaving the field fallow for a year. So I'm guessing if we do that, all the nutrients are gonna be recovered. If I click this field, we can see the crop type at the moment is fallow. For our first year, we definitely want to go with wheat. We could even implement an automatic crop rotation. So the second year would be barley or whatever, and then the third year might be fallow. Maybe I was really unlucky so far. It is raining way too often for how intrusive the particle effects are. Resource stolen by No! Oh, they stole my tools. Wait a second, I didn't even know they were here. They are so far away. I didn't even know they could cross the regions there. Wow, so many bandits. How am I supposed to even fight against this in the beginning? Maybe we should already create a militia unit. I'm not so sure. We do have 20 spears and shields though, and we have 14 recruits. So I'm guessing what we want to do is create a new militia with a spear. So they are basically just at the ready. That means the 14 men in my village are gonna attempt to equip the spears and shields, or at least bring them to their residence. And in total we can have 36 people in that militia. When I then click this, I can rally the people or remove the unit. My problem at the moment is I have 0 tools available because the thieves stole them. And right now I don't really have the militia to take over. You know, get those tools back. There are so many people here. You know, it's okay if they actually steal my tools, but I do remember specifically my tools were in the storehouse and I never saw those bandits tagging along. So the tools just disappearing doesn't feel extremely satisfying. The farmhouse has been completed. As soon as we hit autumn, I'm gonna hire at least 1 or 2 families to take care of the plowing and sowing. The saw pit has been built. I already assigned a family, and I also designated about 10 logs to be kept as construction reserve, so we don't just use all the logs that we have for planks. I might even want to bump this up to 15 honestly, so we always have quite a few logs available to us. It is now July, and from the looks of it, the berries are ready. We can go ahead and harvest them, so I already assigned another family here, but we can also add a herb garden. Now that we actually produced a couple of planks, we have 5 of them, we can go ahead and do that, which is going to be a nice upgrade to keep our people hopefully healthy. And now we can finally start to get all of those berries. I now have a total of 8 families, and I also built a couple more plots here, as you can see, 3 more. Very soon we need to think about maybe upgrading 1 plot, though I'm afraid what it is going to do. Maybe we first give them access to a church or something. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna drag a pathway over here, kind of connect this together. We're also gonna keep going here around the field, connecting this. There it is, the wooden church. This is gonna take up quite a bit of space, but I'm thinking, well, I wanted it right here. Doesn't look like I can. I just have to make a little bit more space here. Thankfully, the roads are cheap. So I think I would want the church right here once we have enough planks. It's also going to be using up our entire storage for the stone. Now my question is, what else do I need? Oh my gosh, a corpse pit. Use this to get rid of any raiders' corpses quickly. Oh my gosh, I see where this is going. Well, we still have a stone deposit right here. We need just 2 logs in order to build 1. So we possibly want this bad boy to be right here. I'm already gonna build it and connect it with a road. And then actually the mining pit here for the iron is even cheaper, and it has to be built on top of the deposit. So I'm also already gonna initiate that, connect it with a road, and we should be good. Right now I would really appreciate 1 additional family. My approval rating is really good, but then I need to be careful. I think 1 more family and that's it. Okay, it is raining once again. We have reached September and therefore autumn, which means we should be able to start plowing and sowing the field. I figured that you can hit the tab button in order to get some information about stuff that you have enabled, and also you can just pause a building in order to get rid of the workers, and then they are free to do something else, so I don't always have to assign people and then get rid of them again. So in this case what we're gonna do is enable the farmhouse. There's gonna be 1 person or 1 family assigned to it, and I also already assigned a second family, so in case we free something up, for instance the stone pit here is probably not necessary right now, we can just pause this. Also checking my materials, I currently have 0 hides, which means I don't really need the tannery, and now I should have my 2 families working at the farm, so that is going to be interesting. The bandits actually tagged along again. I didn't see them, so they really just randomly steal some stuff from you. That is definitely a mechanic I would criticize. Also, there is another sighting of a bandit camp all the way over here, so I'm not sure if the stealings are gonna increase and we just have to take these guys out. Well, at least I have the rain to keep me company. We had a new family moving in. I think I'm gonna re-enable the stone pit again, and I just reached 20 planks. That is actually great because that means I can build the church. As stated before, I'm gonna have it right here. I think people are gonna be quite happy about this. Also, with a lot of the buildings, you can actually upgrade them here with the planks in case we need a little bit more storage, and with the storehouse that is probably gonna be soon the case. The forager's hut could theoretically now be paused. I think I'm gonna keep it enabled so we can still grow a couple of herbs, and then when we get into winter I'm gonna pause it. In the meantime, all my farmers are just spending their time in the house. I guess they are just waiting in order to plow the fields here. Jeez, it's been raining for 2 months now. Another thing I don't understand is I have some buildings here being empty and the people here just stay homeless. I'm not sure why. Yeah, all these houses here are empty and we still have 5 families from the beginning that don't move in. It's just the new families. I wonder, maybe I'm just gonna get rid of the worker camp and then the families are forced to move in here. Let me see. Yeah, that actually worked. So now there are just 2 homeless families. Let's see if we can fix this. There's the space for 3 families. We can build a normal house and then a large one for 2 families. Oh, check this out. Because we have a little bit more space on this plot, we can have an additional thing in the back, like a chicken coop. Provides a passive yield of eggs. This is so interesting. I want to try this out. So we're gonna add the chicken coop here to this building. Why? What is it with the rain? I mean, sure, it's cool and atmospheric, but it really felt, I'm still in the first year and it felt like it rained 7 times or so. Resource stolen again, and it's just gone. So they came all the way from over here, from the other side of the map. Looks like we started to actually plow the field, so I'm gonna assign yet another family to this, just to make sure we get this done before the end of the season. The next thing I would like to do is upgrade my general storage, so we can store 2,500 items. That's 10 times more we currently can, but I still need a couple of planks. My sawpig guys at the moment are relaxing. You know, at a certain point we probably want to have some housings over here as well, so they are a little bit quicker in terms of getting to their jobs. Right now we are about to finish the church and that should make everyone pretty happy, and the approval rate is gonna go through the roof. Construction finished! How wonderful is that? We actually need somebody working here. Sure. And eventually we can also upgrade that one. But first things first, let's upgrade the storage house to a large one. Fritz here is already taking care of it, and Linhard, of course, also tagging along. There's 1 more month to go until winter. Feels like we have enough firewood. We should also have enough food to last until spring. And don't forget, we can always hunt a couple of animals if we don't have enough food. The berries are gone. Next year we're gonna have some wheat, and of course for that we will also have to process it in a windmill and maybe start to bake some bread. The barley field is finished. I think I'm gonna reduce the amount of workers here or families to just 1 so that I can assign someone here at the hunting camp. Oh wait, there's actually a hunting limit. I didn't even realize that, so I can make sure they never go below that wildlife limit. And will you look at that? We do have some chickens. They even come with their own names. I can't believe it. I think I now want to have someone actually working here at the mine. Maybe this is going to allow us to build a couple of those tools that were stolen from us. The game also comes with a nice surplus mode, so I can see how much I really have in stock, but minus the stuff that is being consumed right now. Like the building construction, the materials that are here are already deducted from the total, which also means theoretically the number can go into the minus if you don't have enough materials. Oh no, what happened? They of course now planted the barley. Is that really what I wanted to see? No. I think I'm just gonna live with it, but of course I should have set up the wheat in the second year because that was the first year. The first year should have been fallow. Okay, you live and learn. Now it's probably too late to sow another crop. Yeah, I have to do it until the end of November. In this case though, I'm gonna switch to wheat for the second year and then fallow for the third one. Is it raining still or again? I don't know. All I know is my storehouse is still requiring a log, though people are still bringing stuff here, so I think it still functions as a storehouse while being upgraded. There is my log, thank you. I need another ox, man. Oh yeah, well you look at that. Barley is already growing. Is that how it really works? Stuff starts to grow in November. Or does that just mean my fields are gonna die during winter? Jeez, where's my farming simulator knowledge? I already collected a little bit of iron ore, so I think what I want to to build next in the industry tab is a bloomery and a smithy. We can easily build that and afford it. It's just 2 logs each. And I think I would like these guys to be right here. That's the bloomery, and then a smithy goes right there. They might actually need access to wells. Winter finally hit us. Some snow patches are starting to form. We have 109 firewood, more than enough. Yeah, the transition from autumn to winter is actually absolutely amazing. I love this. Looks very pleasing. Okay, we officially survived the first winter without an issue, apart from the bandits robbing me occasionally. I'm also done with the bloomery and the smithy, and I also added a couple more plots. I think it's time for our first plots to upgrade. Like, I want this one here to upgrade and see what this actually does for us, and also what the new requirements will be. In the meantime, my barley field is growing, and indeed the yield went up all winter, though I'm presuming that during spring it's gonna increase substantially. So overall the production chains are very simple. It seems there's mostly just one produce per building, so in that regard it is quite approachable. So considering we're currently having barley on our fields, let's build a malt house. I think I'm gonna have that right over here. That seems to be fine. Then the third type of crop we can have is the flax, and for that we would need a weaver's workshop. And then finally we could convert berries into dyes, though I'm not sure what the dyes are used for. Maybe that's just a luxury product. There are also a couple of administration buildings. We have a settlers camp, so I'm guessing we could potentially set up another one. No, actually not here. I first have to get this with influence. The manor on the other side will grant 250 influence and rises the administration level by 1. So once this plot here has been upgraded to level 2, we should be getting some taxes and therefore also regional wealth. There's also going to be an attack in about a year, so our goal is going to be to grow our settlement a little bit and actually be ready for that attack. My approval rating at the moment is 97, so something we're doing well. There it is, finally upgraded. There is a tavern need. We should be able to take care of that, and they want different types of clothing like shoes, clothes or cloaks. They also want a small stone church, and well, okay, let's take care of that. I believe we have this larger plot here that we could potentially use as a brewery extension. All we have to do, we probably have to upgrade this a couple of times to be able to do that. So the general idea is that people actually take on these jobs and we get the items passively. Like here we are getting the eggs because of the chickens, but once we upgrade that plot, we should be able to get into the next tier. So possibly the bakery, the tailor's workshop or the armorer's workshop. But yeah, my biggest problem at the moment is I don't have enough wealth, and what I need to do is actually gain more wealth. Now these guys are not going to be extremely happy, but it should suffice. I mean, they do have a couple of things at the ready, so I'm just going to keep on upgrading at least a couple of these houses in order to gain enough wealth to purchase the next plot right here. And that is going to be probably a vegetable garden, I don't know yet. And just like that, I'm back to 18 tools. That was actually rather easy, I have to say. Let's see what else we can build that we don't have yet. I already set up the malt house. I guess a weaver's workshop would be good. So I'm also gonna have that one around, and that means I now finally definitely want some sheep. Let's have a look at the trading post. We wanna do some trading. Also maybe unpause that, though I need another family to work on that. What I want is import 1 or 2 sheep. Oh no, that is also gonna cost me. Yeah, that is not an option right now. We first have to earn some stuff, upgrade more buildings. Settlement level increased. What is that? New development point. Nice. This means we can now have a look at the policies here. Yeah, we need like 5 plots to gain another level. Within that development screen, we can now unlock certain things like trapping that will give a passive income of meat. Forest management doubles the capacity of berries. So these are like really powerful. We have 2 points so far. Yeah, I think the most useful thing would be trapping right now or sheep breeding. Since I don't have the funds to purchase any sheep, I'm just gonna do the trapping, and then I guess the next thing that would be beneficial to us is the double berry deposits. I think one thing we might have to consider is gaining regional wealth through the trading post. So I enabled that one. For instance, we could trade a couple of stones. We could trade all of our crop. Yeah, basically all the items there are. However, it even takes regional wealth to set up a trade route. So it would be something that we gain on a regular basis, like the planks might be useful. Though I gotta say, the export prices are just abysmal. Look at that. We only gain 2 regional wealth from exporting a plank. We would be gaining 8 from roof tiles, so that might be useful, or 6 from the blocks. Maybe over time there's a way to improve on the trade here. There are also a couple of policies we haven't looked at yet, but this is all locked behind progress. So overall, I gotta say, lots of interesting mechanics. Now, I know we only really scratched the surface of this game, but I mainly wanted to make an introduction touching on most of the aspects. If you want to see the save game continued, then let me know in the comment section and maybe by liking the video. And if enough people actually want it, I'm gonna make sure to release a second part of this next Sunday. But until then, one aspect we really haven't explored yet is the combat. I didn't really get a chance to do something with it. We also have to do something with the malt house and the clay furnace. But in order to gain access to clay, we need a clay pit of some sorts, charcoal kiln. The apiary is something we could unlock in the future, but I don't think that is going to be the most important part. We also already built the stone and mining stuff. We have most of the storage. We could set up another hitchhiking post if we wanted to, for instance here. That is potentially going to allow us to have another ox. There's also the packing station where you can load up mules in order to transport 20 goods per trip to a different settlement, let's say a settlement you have in another region. There are also the firewood and food cart that we could unlock in the development screen, yielding passive firewood and bread. Of course, the corpse pit should not be missed. There's actually no construction cost, and I think I'm gonna have the pit right here, just so that everyone passing by can actually see it. In terms of farming, we already built a pasture. We still need to get the sheep from the livestock trading post, but for that we need to accumulate more regional wealth. We could have a total of 28 sheep here, and they would be reproducing passively, of course provided we have someone assigned as a shepherd. We also explored the fields, so we know we can have a 3-year crop rotation, and once you have 3 fields going, you should be able to gain each of the crops in every season. There's also a farmhouse, so at the moment my biggest problem is I don't have enough families. On the other side, I don't want to stress about it, because right now we only have 6 months worth of food, though I will be getting loads of berries, and of course the animals here are also clear. Now, I really don't like that the resources are scattered like this. I would much rather have it more dynamic, like in a foresty area there are wild animals and not like a deposit of wild animals. Also, what happens once the iron deposit here is gone? Are we in for the long haul, or are we just going to use up the materials, and once they're gone and you will have to move on to another region? Right now it really feels, in terms of growth, we only really scratched the surface, and we would have to go through at least 10 years or so. And as mentioned, if the video gains enough traction and enough people are interested, I'm gonna make a second part where I'm gonna be playing like 10 years or so. Now, we already have our first plots causing loss of approval because I leveled them up before we really have everything that they want. But you know, most people are happy. We have loads of approval rating here, so all we really have to do is maybe gain a bunch of regional wealth just selling our stuff. I'm already gonna build the buildings that I haven't done yet. For instance, the windmill. I would like this to be right here so we can grind some flour. And then finally the communal oven is gonna use the flour to produce bread. I'm gonna have that communal oven right there actually. Yeah, I believe I touched on most of the mechanics. Hopefully I didn't miss something really big, like the development screen here that I just discovered at the very end. But I have to say, I'm really intrigued by the game. I always love these types of games. I'm not yet sure about the complexity. Some things seem to be a little bit too simplistic. especially when it comes to the production chains. But on the other side, I don't yet know how difficult it is going to be to balance everything. There's still 3 construction materials we haven't built: the wooden parts, the roof tiles, and the blocks. In terms of food variety, we can definitely get a little bit better, maybe get some more eggs. Also, the honey would be good. Firewood should be quite easy to balance. Also, we have forest like everywhere, so we can just go ahead and take it out as we please. Now, eventually we might have to relocate this logging camp to, let's say, over here in order to deforest another area. So you can actually relocate the buildings, but you cannot relocate the zones. Just let me know what you think about the game. Also, let me know if you want to see a second part. I'm definitely intrigued. I'm gonna be playing a little bit further off camera, but I would like to make a summary of maybe the first 10 years in game and definitely have every aspect of the game completely covered. But it's not a necessity. I mainly just wanted to give you an introduction into the game because I really found it appealing. There were only a few things that really annoyed me and the rest was kind of intriguing, and also it felt fresh enough to not just feel like a copy of something like Banished or all the other types of games that go in that direction. I especially appreciate things like the marketplace, all the zonable stuff that is then just gonna organically place the buildings and everything. I also appreciate the system that they have going on with the backyard workshops. It seems like the wooden parts and certain other things can only be done in that fashion, so that at least brings a little bit more complexity. And yeah, I guess the one thing that I would have liked to explore is the combat. Well, at least let me maybe save the game, and I want to see what happens if I just rally something. So we can do them with the spears here. The spear group can rally here. Let's see. Ooh, okay. Whoa, take it easy. Oh my gosh, there is actual tactics involved in this. We can form a line there, and we can even set up waypoints. Ah, that is so interesting. Geez. There's morale and fatigue. Okay, the combat actually makes this a little bit more intriguing, I have to say. So I basically have the unit here, and with the right mouse button I can rearrange them in different ways. So they form a line of 2 rows. Man, I really like that, I have to say. Could I actually go across the region here with the right mouse button? Yeah, okay, this is possible. So I really was just foolish there. Now, just for the giggles, I'm gonna try out to take out a bandit camp. Where do we have one? Oh, this one actually disappeared. So if you just wait long enough, it's gone. Oh no, I know what happened. There was another army that must have taken out the bandits. Okay, so in this case, we will still not experience the combat in today's episode, but that is something for you to maybe explore. At least we already touched on some of the mechanics here. So to make this video not longer than it already is, let's wrap it up at this point. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. Have a great time and see you in the next one. Bye bye.